So.
Like. So. You know. You know what all of these are, right? These are what we love to call filler words. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about how to avoid filler words when you're giving a talk, when you're giving a client presentation, or most importantly, you just want to have team buy-in. So the number one thing to do here is to remember, what is it doing to your diction? What is it doing to your talk when, in fact, you are offering filler words? Here are the three things that happen. Well, the first thing is that it cuts down on your audience's engagement with you. If you are filling every third or fourth word with like, it really just dings their ability to be engaged in what you're sharing. The second thing is that people want to believe that they're having a one-on-one conversation with you. Now, I understand that the dynamic may be that you're standing in front of a room of 100, 200, 10, I don't care, but people in their minds are having a one-on-one conversation with you. So if you start to look nervous, if you're starting to use filler words to calm those nerves, if you're generally just not being yourself, that is what people pay attention to. So again, it is cutting away, it's whittling away at your ability to deliver your message because people are now focused on the nervousness, right? So those filler words are just additive to the nervousness, not doing you any favors. Now the third thing is, and this is especially important, you're doing videos for your business. You want to build trust. Why should this audience listen to you? You want to build likability. You want to make sure that you're getting buy-in from the audience because you want to convert them maybe down the line. And so when you're using filler words and you're not being logical, you're not being clear, you're not being cogent, guess what happens to their brain? They start thinking about their laundry list. They start thinking about when they have to pick up their kid from school. So when you're putting in filler words, you are starting to whittle away at so many things. And it's so important when you're giving a talk is that you promise something and you follow through with it. That's what engenders trust. And when you're filling your entire diction with a ton of filler words, you're just whittling away at all of that. All right, so now let's talk about what you can do to eliminate those filler words. Number one, hands down, best favor you can do for yourself, best investment of your time is to record yourself. To record yourself just on your phone, have your friend record you, and just start to build that awareness muscle around what it is that you constantly say. I myself have been guilty of saying so. Like I find that so is how I transition from one thought to the other. Or like, that was like my favorite one that I used to come out of my mouth a lot when I was younger is like this, like that. Like, remember yesterday? You know, so the most important thing that you can do is start build awareness around what are those tics, what are those filler words that are creeping up in your language. And then the second thing that you can do when you start to feel that word come out of your mouth is to pause. It's just to pause. And here's what's important about this, okay? When you pause, your brain generally is going a lot faster than you're talking. And so what you think of as a pause, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, feels like an eternity in your head. But for your audience, it's really a lapse of 1 or 2 seconds. This takes a lot of confidence. I recognize this, but if you could just let sentences land and then pause, just to collect your thoughts, just to regain some of your traction, it's going to do you a world of favor versus filling it with filler words. The other thing is that when you pause, it actually brings your audience right onto the edge of their seat. They're in suspense. They want to know what's next. If you have a slide presentation, that is a perfect time for you to be able to pause. You walk back to the slide. You don't have to say anything while you're doing that. But understand that we as human beings are uncomfortable with silence. We really, really are. This works out a lot in sales, you know, when you've given the party that's going to potentially buy a product and you've given them all of the cost benefits, you've given them all the details, the where, the when, and the how. The hardest thing to do is to go silent. And the first person to actually break the silence is usually the one that loses, but it's just giving the other person a chance to feel that discomfort and come forward with some kind of solution to whatever you put on the table. So I'm giving you a long-winded answer here, but if you can learn to leverage the silence when you're giving a talk, that's going to really cut down on filler words. Now, my last magic bullet that I'm going to offer you in the way of a tip today is to tell a story. If you can take a business case and manage to weave a personal story in, it actually accomplishes a couple of things. Number one, the human brain is made of really 3 brains. And when you're teaching me something or you're giving me data, you're really only engaging 2 brains. But when you tell me a story, the more emotional, the better. It actually engages all 3 brains. It harkens back to our ancestors when we sat around the campfire, and the only way we had to communicate was by telling stories. We're primed for that. So if you can tell a story, if you can tell a personal story, that's going to not only help with your ability to deliver without the filler words, it's also going to help your audience to better retain what you had to say. One other thing I want to share here is it's so important. You might be thinking like, Joya, like, what do you mean? I'm going to put a story into my presentation. Amazon actually mandates this. Anytime anybody is presenting a big idea, hey, we're going to overtake Whole Foods, all the stakeholders have to create a 6-page memo, and they actually have to tell a story about why this is a good idea, what is the problem in the market, what is the solution, and why are we the ones to solve it? So there are a lot of companies that actually enforce this as a way of presenting ideas. So a story is always going to help you to be more of an impactful speaker, but it's also going to help with your audience retention. All right, so to recap, the number 1 tip is to record yourself, have a friend record you, and start to build awareness around where your filler words are starting to creep their way up. Number 2 is to leverage the power of the pause. The pause is something, it's going to be one of the best favors you're ever going to do for yourself. Collect your thoughts, take a breath, build a little bit of suspense with your audience, or just refer to a slide that you have behind you. And then the third thing that you can use to just get rid of those filler words is to tell a story, something that you're intimately familiar with and something that your audience is going to take away and remember. Hey, I would love to hear from you. If you deploy any of this stuff in your day-to-day discourse, please let me know in the comments down below. Ask me a question. Better yet, enroll in my public speaking masterclass. The next cohort kicks off on January 13th. I'm going to be teaching you how to tell a story. And what is the beginning? What are you promising me? What is the middle, the actual story, and the end, the takeaway, the gift that you're going to leave for the audience? There's a real formula to this, and I'm going to teach it to you in my next public speaking masterclass. See you later.